Welcome to this Xero Postal Methods tutorial. The first thing you're going to want to do is log into your Xero account and go to the dashboard portal. And then you're going to go to the settings section. There's a couple of things you want to do here in the settings. So the first thing you want to make sure is the case is go in here to email settings. And you'll notice that the email address that's in here is the one you use to log into your account. Now that is automatically then the email address that's used to send correspondence to your customers. So it's important that this email address matches the email address in your Postal Methods account. So make sure that what you have is the same email address that you have here in Postal Methods. Now, there could be a scenario where the email address that you have here, which is the same email address that you use to correspond with Xero, maybe you want it to be different than the email address that's used to correspond with your customers. If that's the case, then you want to push Edit, and you want to add an email address and put that here, and the name you want to show on the email address would go here. But as it mentions, this email address you put here and save, it is the email that says here, sent from this organization will use this name and email address. So again, you can do that, but just make sure that in this case that this email address you enter here is the same one that you have in Postal Methods. But of course, if the same email address applies both, in other words, the email address you use to correspond with Xero and the email address you send to your customers, if that's okay, if it's the same one, then you don't have to add this extra step. That's only if those need to be different for some reason. Okay, so let's go ahead and get out of this. I don't need to make that change because that email address is fine for both reasons. But now let's go back to our organizational settings. And you want to go now to invoice settings, because this is important because we need to upload a template that's going to work with Postal Methods. Because when we send the template over from Xero to Postal Methods, it needs to be able to read it properly, and it needs to make sure that the return address and the send to address are in the right spot on the letter so that when it folds up, it can be seen through the windows of the envelope. So to do this, go to Invoice Settings. Okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to click on New Branding Theme. Then you're going to click on Custom DocX. You download it, and now you're going to name that Postal Methods. But you'll want to go here and you want to go to Upload and Browse. Now, on our website, you're going to find, under this tutorial, you're going to find a template that you can download to your computer. And you're going to want to download that template to your computer, save it somewhere. That way when you go to browse, you'll be able to find that. And in case it's not visible, because it's a certain type of file rather, you may want to go to all files, then it'll show up here. But then you would upload that template to Xero. Click on upload. I've already done it, so I'm not going to do it again. But once you've uploaded it, then it'll be in Xero, and you can actually name it what you want to name it, and that's part of your Xero account now. But the next important step is this needs to be on top. So let's go ahead and move this down, make that pop on top. And because we've done that, now this template is the default template for your Xero account. Now keep in mind that the template's set up a certain way with certain things that's being pulled over from the template. But if you find that it's missing certain data points that Xero has in it, let us know, reach out to us, and we can add that to your template so that it pulls over what you need for it to pull over. But as it is, it's set up to go, and we can move on now to actually continuing the setup that we need to be able to make this work. Now keep in mind, all this is a one-time thing. You don't have to do this all the time. Once you set it up, you're good to go. So just you keep that in mind. Now let's go to our contacts, and we're going to find the contact that I've already created in here. Now, of course, you can do it from scratch as well, anyone new you're putting in, but in this case, we already have a customer in here. I'll click on it, and go over here to edit, because in your existing customers, you're going to have to add an additional step or another component rather in the contact section. And here's what that is. First of all, I'll mention that the emails going out to this customer is, of course, whatever email address you have for them. But whenever an emailed invoice goes out, it also needs to go to Postal Methods. So the way to accomplish this is to add an additional person. Now, I've already done this, but I'm going to show you how to do it as if I hadn't done it yet. Click Add Another Person. And the first and last name really doesn't matter, but perhaps just to make it easier and to remind you why you've done it, go ahead and name it Postal Methods. And then the email address that goes in here needs to be send@letter.postalmethods.com. Once you've done that, very important that you click the check mark here to include this person in email sent to the contact. Then you click on Add Person, and that would add that to that person's account. I'm not going to do that. I've done it already, but that's what you would do. And then you would save and close that. All right, so now that's good. That's set up and good to go. So now let's actually go to the actual invoice. So let's go here to Business, Invoices. In this case, I'm going to actually create a new invoice. So we'll go ahead and do that. New invoice. We need to find that customer, put the letter J. He's in there, and of course you're going to pick whatever you want, but I'm going to pick some default things that I like to do here as we've created this invoice. Okay, so I'm done with what I want to do here. So now I can approve and email this to the customer and subsequently to postalmethods.com. But there's an important step you want to do when you get to this point. Okay, so it moved over now. All right, so you see now, because we did what we did, now that customer's getting an email, so is Postal Methods. But it's very important that you also put a check mark by attach PDF to email. And that, once you do that, then it's done. You don't have to do it again. But once you see everything looks good, then you can send that email. We wait for it to go over. Now that has been sent to Postal Methods. So, if you go to your Postal Methods account, go to the Process Documents, then you'll see that it has been pulled over and sent to Postal Methods. And now, of course, you see this hasn't populated yet, neither has this or the price. As you know, you'll want to refresh until that actually pulls over and you see that information there. Okay, so now we see it has populated. We see that we have a green check mark. Everything looks good. Everything came out good. Everything's where it needs to be. Invoice is set up, and we're good to go. So do keep in mind that we do use an API as well, which means we have something that can make our software talk to Xero software in your account. So this could be an automated way of doing it as well. But for those who are just are avoiding doing that, you can do it this way. But it is a nice way of doing it with the API as well. It sounds intimidating, but it's not as difficult as it might sound. We can assist you with doing that, with integrating the two softwares so that they talk to each other. But this is just another way where you can attach a Xero to Postal Methods, so you can use this and make your life a lot easier. So we thank you for being a customer of Postal Methods and hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Take care.